Bueno, la cosa es que estamos esperando porque es un tema que nosotros sabemos que la fundar claro, sí.
It'll make sense. Yeah, especially on next year. There was something
Good morning, school. Welcome to the senior presentation class of 2022. We ask that you please silence yourself before we begin today's speech. Our first speaker today is Michelle. Art has always been a special place in my heart and mind. Ever since I was a small child, art has been in my life, affecting me in too many ways to count. Like many of my friends, I grew up with divorced parents. My mom and dad had two completely different tastes in art. From everything from furniture to music, they had two different opinions. Growing up, this was really annoying because, to be honest, I wasn't a fan of my dad's country music and classic rock, but I also really wasn't a fan of the Black Eyed Peas, Daft Punk, and that's what I call music CDs. I listened to those with my mom. However, looking back, being exposed to these things was in my best interest, as I came of age to decide what my own tastes are. When I say that art has always had a special place in my heart and mind, I mean that on top of an emotional attachment to art as a whole, it has influenced how I think and how I view the world. Aside from disliking my parents' music taste when I was young, I also had an obsession with drawing. I wanted to be an artist or an architect at the age of 7, and I showed no sign of stopping. Until my mom informed me that architecture requires a lot of math and physics, which sounded bad as a 7-year-old when I didn't know what physics was, and back beyond long vision didn't really exist yet. Even with the hope of being an architect gone, I still wanted to draw. I had to. I drew so much that in the past I've had multiple teachers politely ask me to stop drawing on my homework. One specific time in my life when I realized how important art was to me was when I went to London when I was 10 with my family. Just walking around and seeing the complexity of the buildings was amazing to me, especially places like Westminster Abbey. I remember and still have a handmade sketchbook that my mom bought me in Bath, England, and in it I drew almost everything that I saw or took a picture of on that trip. Another part of the trip that was a key moment in my art career was being on the train to Paris from London. I remember looking out the window with my mom and seeing the fluorescent colors of the graffiti art on the passing trains. I had never seen graffiti before, and this actually influenced me a lot. I just didn't know until recently. From this point on, I continued on a path with little creativity, and overall, my creative mind was on pause for personal reasons. I couldn't produce anything that I was truly happy with because I cared too much about what I was doing and wasn't willing to let my brain breathe and simply create. Until a few summers ago, when the most unlikely event occurred. While I was in New Jersey, I met Tommy Fitzgerald's mom's personal trainer and her sons, who had gone to collegiate when they were my age. 1 month after this, I found myself on a tour of the school with Michael and Steve. I'm a firm believer that I am who I am today because of Blue Collegiate High School. I have grown and changed so much since my sophomore year artistically because of the great opportunities that Collegiate has offered me through the years. From photography class with Ms. Shoemaker to art history with Ms. Brundage, I learned a whole new medium and gained inspiration, respectively. Outside of classes, I have met so many people at Collegiate who have different tastes and ideas, giving me an opportunity to create with new people and simply meet new friends. I couldn't imagine what life would be like without being a part of the collegiate community. The people I've met here are some of my best friends and have helped me in more ways than I can say. Collegiate took me out of my artistic slump and somehow also turned me into the artist I have been wanting to be for most of my life. I've tried so many forms of art since I've been at Collegiate, from videography to graphic design and most recently music. So be ready for my next tape in a couple months. Other than creating, I've gained new perspectives on music and other people's art. This has allowed me to enjoy a ton of new art that I hadn't even known about or even liked before coming to Collegiate. I have discovered new music and I make sure everyone else does as well via my Instagram stories. I cannot stress enough how thankful I am for the Collegiate faculty. I never thought I would ever have any sort of close relationship with my teachers, having gone to public school my whole life. Coming to Collegiate has been a wonderful change for me. I can talk to my teachers about anything, even outside of schoolwork. And I know for a fact that being allowed the time to talk to my teachers about assignments or topics has had a huge positive impact on my academic career. I'm especially thankful for Ms. Crawford for being the go when it comes to making a student's life easier. During the pandemic, she graced us with helpful videos for every topic, and when we were able to be in school last year, she had the most welcoming and comfortable classroom I had ever been to. So, for all these reasons, thank you, Collegiate, for making me who I am and want to be.
Our second speaker today is Pierre Isciola. Pierre will be introduced by Mr. Prieto.
Good morning. Today I have the privilege to introduce Pierre Isciola. I could have chosen our cornerstones to describe Pierre. Since those powerful words describe a whole and an integral member of our collegiate community. And Pierre lives up to that every day. But yet I decided to go out a little bit deeper than that. I'm choosing the words courageous, adaptable, and visionary. Those adjectives will be evident in his speech today. His speech delivers a powerful message that talks about the importance of adaptability and embracing the opportunities that change brings to one's life. Any further ado, I would like to introduce to you Mr. Pierre Isciola.
Hi, everyone.
Looking back at all the other speeches you've heard, I guess it would be customary to start the speech with a quote. And Albert Einstein once said, "The measure of intelligence is the ability to change." But what does it mean to change? For some, it may be a change in clothes or a change in style. But since this is a speech about me, I'll be sharing times that I had to go through some changes. First, me switching schools right before my senior year. I was not exactly planning on switching schools at all, but boy, I am so glad I did. Funny story, I did not know anything about collegiate, nor have I even heard the name. I would say it was sort of an accident finding out about this place. I was driving around trying to find a bakery because I was picking up a cake, and that's when I stumbled upon this giant field located at Champion Straits. I think it was at Champion Straits. My memory's not that good. But anyways, as many of you know, I come from St. X, and before anyone started asking me questions, I knew the Rebello brothers and naming them when I went there. Anyways, this change was a major one if you ask me, and at first it did feel like a negative change. Now, I did not know anyone that switched schools full of completely different people for the most important year of high school, so I didn't know what to expect at all. Start of the year went horrible. My grades were really low, and I kept getting lost throughout the halls. Whose idea was it to have one-way hallways? I would have English on the second floor, history in the basement, and the chemistry back on the second floor. And if I made one wrong turn, I had to go all the way down and use the stairs again. To sum it up, the year was practically a nightmare. And with the stress of the pandemic and keeping my grades up, it only made things worse. The only reason I made it through the year was because of the people I have met while going here. Before I came here, I did not really care about anything at all. Back when I was at St. X, I didn't really do much there. Most of what I did was goof off with my friends in class. But it wasn't until we were reaching December of last year I realized I wasted so much time back then. But if it wasn't for the help of the ones who mean the most to me, I never would have gotten this far. I think they know who they are, and I'm sure they would rather me not embarrass them, at least not right now. They are amazing people, and I am really lucky to have them in my life. But even right now, I'm still a completely different person than how I thought I would turn out. I used to think that nothing matters and that we're doomed to live our lives with no excitement. Now I know that the boringness of life is just another part of living, and you have to get through those days to enjoy the days that make an impact. Even though that could be considered a big change, it really isn't the biggest change in my life. I guess what I would consider the biggest change would be moving here. Well, migrating to a new country. I mean, it happened when I was very young, about 3 years old. I do not really remember much about it. I only know about it because the stories that my mom told me. And just imagine having to leave everyone behind. Your family, your friends, the place you grew up, all of it behind. I can only imagine how scared my mom must have been, especially with having a child to look after. This big change for my mom and I ended up being a good thing though, because if it never happened, then I do not know where I would be today. So overall, that major change was good for me. My second biggest change would be joining the Army. Having the opportunity to live in this country has changed my life, and the way I want to show my gratitude is by giving back and serving. Some people would be scared to do something like this. I don't blame them. This really is a huge decision to make since I am giving part of my life to the government. But hey, at least my college will be paid for. Now we're finally at the end. And for the ones falling asleep, I don't blame you, I'm falling asleep too. But anyways, change is weird. Yeah, I have gone through a couple of big changes in my life, both good and bad, and I'm still expecting that trend to continue. While there is no way to know if the change is good or bad, if it's something you can't stop from happening, or even if you don't want it to happen, I I would say to just let it be. Another thing is that if you are worrying about the past, take a deep breath and let that go too. There is no point in worrying about something that has already happened. Instead, just worry about the future. You cannot change the past, but you can change the future. So overall, let the change happen. It may just change your life. Thank you.
Our third speaker today is Michael Bush. Michael will be introduced by his dad, Steve Bush.
Good morning, everyone. When Michael first asked me to introduce him on his senior speech, I'm like, am I going to be graded for this? Because if that's the case, there's no way I'm doing it. But since I'm not going to be, here I am. I wanted to start off, when Michael was born, the first year of his life, he was fast. And I mean, good Lord, he was fast. My wife wants me to say that he was roly-poly because it sounds cuter, but he was in the 99th percentile of weight. Ridiculously large. But that changed because the second he learned to walk, he ran. And he ran everywhere, fast. He ran all the time, fast. And that didn't change when he learned his letters, because as soon as he learned his letters, he read everything fast. He read all the time, fast. We couldn't keep enough books in the house. And then he learned to drive. And when he learned to drive, he drove everywhere slowly, like he was supposed to, and like he was taught, but with less accidents than his sister. Listen, Michael loves collegiate. I do too. You guys have allowed him to grow emotionally, physically, intellectually, in a place that he feels welcome. So, without much further ado, please welcome my son, my boy, Michael Bush.
Hello, everybody. I'm going to start this speech off with a relatable statement. The vast majority of you all will wholeheartedly agree with me, and a select, some would say crazy group of you all will scoff pretentiously. Here it is. I hate running. I can't stand it. I've never liked it, and I never will. For any of you all that have had to take the pacer test, we're forced, against all common sense and logic, to run a 5K, or played a sport, or just lived the human experience. Odds are you feel the same way. Of course, this all seems entirely hypocritical of me to say, as I'm someone who, according to my college applications, is a dedicated runner, passionate teammate, and future captain of outdoor track. I've spent a significant amount of time in my life running. I've ran on various teams throughout elementary, middle, and high school. I've won some races, lost a lot more. I've created unforgettable memories with my teammates and forged friendships that will last forever due to running. All of the corny stuff. At the end of it all, though, I still hate running. I hold not an iota of nostalgia or partiality to the gruesome activity. For me, it's a fruitless endeavor. It's just suffering. You know what running is for me? It's violently puking on the side of a public road. That's what running is. Running is cramping, hyperventilating, sweating. Perhaps worst of all, running means using public park bathrooms over and over, day after day, practice after practice. That's an experience that doesn't ever get easier, doesn't ever get more comfortable. There's no payoff for all of that. Fanatics of the sport love to talk about a so-called runner's high that makes it all worth it. They describe it as some gift from God himself, a reward for their hardship. I'm here to tell you that that's nonsense. The only runner's high I get is a dehydration-induced delirium, and at best, some nausea. It's more of a carbon monoxide leak high than anything else. At this point, a lot of you are presumably asking me the same question I all too frequently ask myself. Why? If you despise this activity so much, why in God's name would you do it? Why would you voluntarily sign yourself up for cross-country and track year in and year out? Do I hate myself and feel as if I deserve the pain? That'd be cool. You're sick, you're emo, that's not it. So do I think there's a future for me in the sport? I answer this question to myself and my coaches in the nicest and most respectful way possible, but there is no way. Not a chance. Last time I ran the mile, I got beat by 3 middle schoolers. 3 of them. I was 16, they were at most 13. Maybe. So what is it? My tentative answer is that I feel the need to prove myself. Prove something. I need to prove that I'm faster than others, that I'm tough enough to not pass out, cry, and or immediately quit the team every time I run. I need to prove that I can keep up with the people in front of me. I need to prove that I have the work ethic to run by myself. I need to prove to someone or something that I've got some sort of proper mindset for some sort of good success. It's not that I particularly wanted to prove myself to my coaches or my peers or my parents. There's never been a specific target. I've just got to show that I've got it. It was always very vague and, by nature, pointless. I'm no longer running heavily. I'm not really concerned about running anymore. My current response to the whole mindset that I used to have is, that's stupid. It's dumb. Great job wasting your time doing something enjoyable. Congratulations, 10th grade Michael, for suffering all the time. But I now know that that's not worth it. Case closed, conundrum resolved, story over. But now let me step out of this little scope, just for a second. See, when I was writing this speech, I realized that I could probably extend this metaphor of running into other aspects of my life. Get real philosophical with it all. Because sometimes it feels as if I treat school the same as I did running. Sometimes it feels as if I treat my social life the same as I did running. I might treat a lot of stuff similar to the way that I treated running. The idea of rushing through it all as fast, efficient, and good as possible was common. It feels applicable across many facets of my life. Unfortunately, unlike with running, where I have settled on a clear and definitive answer of, I should stop doing this sucks. With these other parts of life, I don't have an answer on whether or not I should be pushing it far all the time. I may know 100% where my heart lies in regards to cross-country. But when it comes to college applications and science class, I find myself getting caught up in the question of, will it all be worth it? Is all this work for the best? Oh, that's a little big picture for this speech. The short answer, I don't know. I have no advice for myself or any of you all. That shows what was on my mind at the time I was writing this, and it's something I think about semi-often. For the time being, though, let me round back to what really matters. My hatred of running. Now, I want to clarify, because I don't want you all to get confused. I really like my running coach. I love both the track and cross-country teams. I like all the bonds we share, and I can see how the pain of running may have brought us closer together. In fact, I'm still signing up for the track team this year. But I've grown at peace with seeing that chapter of my life closing. I'm fine with my cross-country fire just kind of sputtering out. There was no need for a fiery ending. My career didn't need to crash in a blazing storm of spite. The spite was for sure there. Let's not forget that. Because I hate running, hate sweating, hate puking, hate cramping, hate being out of breath. But I digress. I find it wonderful the amount of peace I get from just kind of letting go. Slowing down to an eventual stop may not be the most glorious ending to anything. Not for school, friendships, or rivalries. Certainly not for a sports career. But I'm okay with that. There's not a shred of glory with running in the first place. Why force it? I'm content with sitting at home during cross-country meets, making fun of distance runners whenever I can, and answering the question of why I don't run anymore with, running is stupid, I don't like it, I'm so glad that I don't do it anymore. Thank you.
give these awesome speakers another round of applause. Thank you for coming. All of you beautiful people have a great day. Thank you.
Joey. What? Oh, Joe Bob. You did not? That's very well done.
¿Cómo me veo más flaco? ¿Con esto así?
Con eso así.
Para que no se me
Con
vea la
eso así.
espalda.
Yeah.
A ver, vamos. Para la foto nos podemos quitar.
Claro, sácate la máscara mejor.
Aguántame los ojos.
See, now you have to smile.
Smile, girl. You're forced to smile now.
Yeah.
Eso. Bueno, muchachos. De nada, felicidades. Te veo luego, ojalá de hoy. You gonna swim today? Este lunes, está bien. You sure?
Oh, now you really got
Are you going for lunch?
Yeah. Well, thank you for catching that, dude.
Great job.
Thank you, Mr. Palmer.